Olá, eu sou a Débora Oliveira, editora do IT Fórum, e a gente está hoje aqui com uma personalidade do SXSW que há mais de 17 anos, quase 20 anos, vem todos os anos e lança o seu reporte mais esperado de todos, Amy Webb, incrível futurista, maravilhosa. Ontem ela fez a sua apresentação aqui, a gente vai falar um pouco sobre os desdobramentos das tendências e coisas que ela comentou aqui. Mas eu vou agora mudar para o inglês, vou começar a conversar com ela, vocês vão ver aí as legendas e para quem estiver ouvindo vai ouvir em inglês. Então, I want to thank you very much for your time, Abby. I know that you are very busy here right now, right?
Yeah, very busy. Bom dia.
Yeah, I know that you know some words in Portuguese.
Just a few. Portuguese is very hard, but I'm trying to learn.
Yeah, so yesterday you said so many phrases in Portuguese. I was impressed.
I was impressed too. I couldn't believe it came out of my mouth.
No, you were so smart.
Thank you.
Thank you. And disconnect us with your audience, right? So, first of all, I have a question here about your role as futurist. So I know that you said yesterday that you use basically data to promote your, predictions and so far. But how is your role, and do you use like your sensibility and feelings to predict something?
Well, I feel like I know the IT media audience pretty well, so they will appreciate this. I had the opportunity to meet with the IT media.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. It was amazing. The event was incredible. All the people that I met were super cool. And honestly, I wish I could have stayed for the entire day because it was just super fun. So
maybe next year.
Yeah. So look, you can't predict the future just using your feelings or using your gut. You really need to have evidence. So a lot of what we do is research, and we find evidence, and we find data, and we build models. So I feel like people in the IT media universe can relate to this because, in a lot of ways, it's very, very methodical. And we don't want to make guesses. We want to make models that we can prove later on.
Cool, yeah. And as you know, our audience, we talk to CEOs and CIOs, and they are very, they use their abilities to improve their jobs, their daily routines, and their businesses. So how do you think that companies can address a tangible future but use, technologies that they are available nowadays, but how they look to the future like that?
So it's very challenging to be a CEO in any type of technology or innovation area right now because so many things are changing. So this is a very complex operational environment. And the CEO really has the job of being the chief executive of the company, so leading and managing the company. So what does that mean? That means that right now there is a lot of uncertainty. There are a lot of variables that you didn't have before, and it is much more difficult to make those decisions. And a lot of CEOs feel like they are totally overwhelmed. They're just like, oh my God, I have to run this company, and now I have to keep track of all these AI companies and the chat GPT stuff. And also I have to keep track of what's changing with the cloud and also regulations, not just in Brazil, but in all these other countries because technology is, so this is a lot. What I would say is every leader should develop a strong vision of the future. So if you are an IT consulting company, or you make software, go 5 years into the future, given what you know today, what does that look like? And especially for those of you in cybersecurity, because the threat surface landscape will look very different in a handful of years. So try to use evidence to figure that out. And then what will it take in that future for you to play? How will you play? What will it take to win? And how can you be resilient? So the CEO really needs to change their mindset right now. And not just the CEO, the chief technology officer, the chief innovation officer, the chief information security officer, all those people. It's about a mindset change. Because honestly, if you don't focus a little bit, you're gonna go crazy because there's so much happening. It's gonna just, you're gonna feel almost like suffocated with all the things that are happening.
Yeah, it makes me feel a little bit anxious.
Did I already make you feel anxious?
A little
sorry.
bit, but that's okay. We have to live with that. But you mentioned a lot about artificial intelligence in your lecture yesterday and your report with more than almost 1,000 of things.
I know, right? I'm saying like, don't feel anxious or worried, but now here's 1,000 slides.
Yeah.
You should read this whole PowerPoint deck. Yeah.
Yeah, so what is the most challenging thing about artificial intelligence for us right now? And if you can tell us a little bit about the Brazilian challenge as well.
Sure. So we have a lot of challenges with artificial intelligence right now, but from a management perspective, I think the most challenging thing are some of these questions like, should we use open source AI or should we use a proprietary model? And I know this is something that the community in IT media is probably thinking a lot about.
Sure.
Because the proprietary models like ChatGPT, all of those models, they can be very expensive to use, and you don't have a lot of control, so you can't change them. The open source models, like Llama 2 from Meta, and there are many others. There's also Mistral, So those are cheaper to deploy, which is good. On the other hand, they're not as secure. Yeah. They're much more vulnerable. So I know you're facing questions like that, and that's a hard question because a lot of Brazilian companies, and companies everywhere, they went through a digital transformation not too long ago, and I'm sure now companies are like, are you kidding me? We just spent all this money on digital transformation, and now you want us to do AI transformation? Like, no, that's not fair. So it's expensive, is another big challenge. And so companies have to make good decisions about what makes sense for our budget right now, but then like what makes sense for us as we grow. So another challenge with AI is the cloud. Nobody has, well, first of all, nobody has GPUs because nobody can get them. They're too expensive.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, I think I was on NVIDIA's website looking at the H100. Allow me to get nerdy for just a moment.
Oh, sure.
I was on NVIDIA's website looking for something, and I was like, oh, what's going on with the H100 right now? There is none, right? And then I was like, oh, I wonder how much an H100, where could I buy one? I found people selling them on eBay, supposedly brand new out of the box, for more than $200,000.
Wow.
Which is like Taylor Swift extreme, right? Ticket costs right now.
For 3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what that means is companies also have to make choices about which cloud provider, because
there's so many right now, right?
Exactly, yeah, and you can't just like have AI sitting on your laptop. You have to. It has to host somewhere, right? So I think the other question, the other decision point for a lot of people in the IT media audience will be: are we going to be single cloud or multi-cloud? And again, there's drawbacks and benefits. So there's a lot of that type of like strategic question that I think folks will have to be thinking about. And those are challenging because on the one hand, you're going to want to save money in the present, which I totally get, but that could have negative long-term consequences, right? So there's all that. Not to mention things like, who owns all this data? Are you going to give your company's data away?
Sure.
And once it gets trained, then what happens? So you've got data questions to ask. You've got security questions to ask. There's a lot of questions right now when it comes to AI.
Yeah, and another topic that is trending a lot, it's people becoming humanoids, right? So something that you mentioned yesterday as well, and it's a point of inflection. So what is your point of view in 5 years that we can survive with those chips inside us? What will be the benefit of it?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm covered in chips, so they're not inside my body, but they are very much on my body.
Yeah.
I wear, I'm a cyclist, so I should come. Brazil's got, I bet you, really good places to go cycling in.
Yeah, we have in São Paulo.
Yeah, I know. I
right?
was just thinking.
Very good place.
Next time I'm there.
Yeah.
So I race. So I do a lot of long distance cycling and racing. And this watch that I wear, it's a Garmin. I'm not promoting Garmin. I'm just describing what I'm wearing. It tracks my heart rate. It tracks all my data. It tracks my lungs ability. So when I'm out riding, I've got this thing on. I've got a heart rate band on. I've got a tracker on my bike. I've got various sensors and computers on my bike.
Sure.
I've got pedals that have computers in them, little sensors. So my point in saying this is, I'm basically one part computer all the time anyways, even though I don't have these things inside my body. But I'm very privileged that I can afford to buy these things, and you know what I mean? So I think I'm sort of not interested in like people becoming robots or whatever.
Yeah.
I am concerned about this new digital divide that gets created. And oh my gosh, can I go on a tangent really quickly?
Sure,
Good.
of course.
I was going to do it anyways, so that's fine. Have you heard about Peter? So Peter Thiel is this very famous venture capitalist.
Okay, got it.
And the Olympics are coming up this year.
Yeah, that's true. In France.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to take drugs and be an athlete.
Yeah.
So Peter Thiel was like, he wants to start a new Olympics where it's just like, dope. Take the drugs and see how far you can push your body.
Wow.
Like an alternative, yeah, right? So,
it's impressive. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. Because on the one hand, I'm like, well, if you're an elite, so one of the world's greatest and most elite cycling teams is called, I don't mean to turn this into the cycling podcast, but they're called...
But the topic is good.
Good.
I like
They're called Jumbo Lisa Bike. It's a stupid name, but they're elite, and they have more technology than like everybody else, and they've designed their helmets in a different way. They've done all this stuff. I would hope that none of them are taking drugs.
Yeah.
But my husband keeps asking me, well, what's the difference between taking a performance enhancing drug and having all this technology?
Yeah,
right?
That's a point.
It is a point. It's weird. I don't know how to think about that yet, because if you're a team that doesn't have all the money, then you can't get access to all the technology anyways. So, you know what I mean?
The other thing that I was going to tell you, because you were talking about, those transformations in the companies and the money that they spend to do it. And at the same time, they have KPIs and other stuff. They have to promote their business. They have, to improve their business with the budget. And so how can company think about this future and at the same time balance it with KPIs and gain money?
Well, how much time do you have to talk? This is
The
a
whole
topic
day.
I love to talk about.
The whole day.
So what you're absolutely right. One of the trends that I'm seeing, unfortunately, is that companies are wanting to use artificial intelligence, among other things, to cut the bottom line, to improve the bottom line. So basically, AI has, we have these chatbots now. Maybe we can automate, customer service. Maybe we can automate this podcast, right? We can automate everything.
Record your voice
exactly.
and mine, and then
sadly,
switch.
that is something we probably could do at this point.
Yeah, but the thing is that we won't be here.
We won't be here, and I won't be forcing you to talk about cycling. The issue really is automation has almost become like a shorthand abbreviation for cutting headcount. And I can understand the desire to do that, to want to do that, because, look, a business exists to make money.
Sure.
It's not a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And one way, sometimes it's easier to make money in the short term by reducing your expenses. That's a lot easier to do than coming up with new ideas for growth and value creation and executing those, that takes a longer time. Really great companies do both. So they don't cut, to get to the bottom line growth. They're like, okay, maybe we could improve a few things. So we might look for some efficiencies, but at the same time, we need to do that. Where do we create new value and how do we grow? And the best companies will take the savings that they make from the bottom line and put them back into innovation and R&D. But I almost never see that. And unfortunately right now, because of economic insecurity, and especially in Brazil, look, your political pendulum has swung from Bolsonaro to Lula. You've gone completely opposite directions, right?
That's right.
We went through the same thing in the United States, and unfortunately, we may go through the same thing again in a couple of months. So that's created some anxiety in business. So I think the desire is, we should make those cuts right now using artificial intelligence. But I think that's going to create problems in the longer term. So it's really important, if you're going to look at AI and say, we can automate code, we can automate all of these things, so we can reduce the number of people, you also need to say, well, how might artificial intelligence create a new audience? How could this help us grow? Or for those of you in the IT media community working in malware and cybersecurity, where does AI create new vulnerabilities? And are we going to need more people or partners to help us with that in the future?
Yeah. And since you mentioned AI again, I love this topic. So what do you think about regulation? Do you think that this will kill the innovation?
You're right. There's this push right now on regulation, especially in the EU, where there's a sweeping new AI regulation that is about to be, I think the problem is that really going to stop the biggest tech companies from continuing to push their technology forward? Will it fundamentally change how they develop the technology? My answer is no. Does it change how they deploy the technology? Maybe in Europe, but then what happens with the rest of the ecosystem? What about all the startups and all the other companies that are trying to become part of that value network? Does that allow them to enter or no? So here's why I'm saying this, because I think regulation is the wrong approach. Regulation is inherently a reaction to something that's already happened. You can't regulate you can't regulate for the future. And honestly, the companies are going to keep doing whatever they're doing anyways. So every time we've seen regulation, it has not fundamentally changed how companies, the motivation of companies. Because the motivation of companies is to earn value for their shareholders. So if that's the case, then we need to not use regulation. I think we need to use financial incentives, which I know is not a popular idea at all. Because effectively what I'm saying is we need to help these companies make a shit ton of money. I just said a bad word. Is that okay?
No, that's good.
All right. Right. So I actually, what's going to cause them to listen? The threat of somebody saying, we're going to fine you later on. You better not do that, right? They're going to be like, cool, whatever, man. We got others. Cool. You do your regs, government. You do you, right?
Yeah.
we like that. You go, What might make them actually listen and make a change is we're going to help you save a lot of money on taxes. We're going to help you deliver more value to your shareholders.
Sure.
They might be like, cool, tell us more. And the answer is you will qualify for tax credits, or you will qualify, or whatever. You're going to earn more revenue. We're going to do these things together, but you have to make your systems transparent. You have to abide by these terms. That might get us closer. That is not what the EU has done. That's probably not what the United States is going to do. The United States is probably going to do nothing, to be honest. It's an opportunity for Brazil, maybe.
So the last question actually is your message to your Brazilian fans.
Yeah.
You have a lot.
It's family. It's not fans.
Yeah, family.
Familia?
Familia. Yeah. So about the future, about technology in general, what do you want to say to them right now?
Well, I would love to say to the IT media community, you are the future. I mean, like it or not, everything going forward has something to do with technology, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything. So what that tells us is that you play a vital role in the future of Brazil, but not just Brazil, because Brazil has partnerships with other countries. There are Brazilian companies that work with, you're it. So, I mean that. Everything that you do going forward will have some impact for real on people's everyday lives. So I don't mean to pressure everybody or create anxiety, but that's the truth. So if that's the case, I just want you to always be thinking things through. Think about, if I make this choice, what are the potential other things that might happen? How can I be additive? How can I create value? How can I collaborate? A lot of those questions, and always ask what if. I think the strength of the IT community is that you tend to be very risk averse, and you tend to want to be very safe. And that also means sometimes you say no before you say yes.
Yeah.
So what I would like to leave you with maybe is, instead of no, or, instead maybe it's what if, right? Going forward. Because I'm not making this up. You literally are the future.
Sure.
And I think that's a very important role, but also a very, if it was me, I would feel honored to have that role in building the future.
Wow, that's amazing. Very good way.
And it's good that they're a part of IT media.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
You are helping educate people, right, about the future, and being the community where people can talk about these things and share ideas. And so it's good to have that community.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Amy. I know that you are very busy right now, but obrigada também por você que ouviu a gente, por você que nos viu e nos ouviu. Se você gostou aqui da nossa conversa, não esqueça de curtir, comentar e também mandar para seus amigos para a gente compartilhar as ideias dessa futurista incrível que compartilhou aí as suas ideias também aqui no SXSW 2024, diretamente aqui da Casa São Paulo, em Austin.